Hey everybody, how are you today? Another episode of Building Modular. Take it away, Jennifer. This is your show. I just show up.
Oh, thanks for joining us today. And you know what? Dragging me into your world and dragging everybody else into this world. We're not really dragging you, are you? We're inviting you.
That's right.
And we welcome you and thank you for joining us. This is another episode of Building Modular.
29. 29. Weren't we just doing the math? I think we have over 10,000 minutes of this now. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely up there. And it's been 29 weeks talking about offsite construction and modular construction and welcoming so many different people, right? From around the world and in our backyard. It's been such an exciting journey. And we invite, traditional site builders, modular builders who have been doing this a really long time, homeowners, customers, to join us as we talk about all of the benefits and advantages of modular construction.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, this isn't just for builders that are in modular. This is for people that are looking at modular, whether you're a site builder and wanting to enter into the world of offsite construction. Or maybe you're a homeowner, because we have a lot of homeowners been tuning in lately.
We do.
Maybe you're a homeowner. You're thinking about building and want to build modular, and this is just a place for you to get some knowledge and ask some questions. So, with that said, I think this is going to be a good show today, Jennifer.
Yeah, I mean, across this platform, Dave, you've been broadcasting 5 days a week live, often on location. We have Coffee with Dave on Saturday mornings where we do
every Saturday
roundup. But essentially what we're starting to do is take all of these learnings, lessons learned from all of these conversations, different shows, amazing guests that we've had on.
A lot of amazing guests.
And really start to present to everybody, some of the great stories we've learned along the way.
Yeah, 100%. So with this episode of Building Modular, one of the things that's been happening, and a shout out to Mark Bare Naked Willie on this one, is, Friday we've been talking about the different types of building science and offsite construction. So we've had a few people on, Deltec Homes, right? We had Leah, we had Harris from Finish Works on the show, and then we also had Benson Wood. And I think this is a good episode for people that are tuning in to say, all right, listen, if I'm going to consider building offsite construction, and I'm going to consider modular or panelized or what have you, then I really need to understand who's out there. So we decided to take those episodes and small segments of it, bring it to this show, so everybody has, a small resource of some of the manufacturers out there that are putting building science into their manufacturing process, or a builder putting building science into the manufacturing process.
Well, here's the thing, right? The hottest conversation we're hearing right now is value. How do you offer more value to your clients? How do you differentiate yourself as a builder? How do you help your clients understand the value of modular construction? And we're not talking cost here. This isn't a conversation about cost. And this is about how do we check important things off the box that your client values? And every builder takes a different approach to how they build a home, from the way they design it to the drawings that they create, and to the finishing touches that they put on that home. But I think one thing that's agnostic to all of the clients for whom we're building is that they would love to live in a comfortable home, a home with lower operating costs, that isn't so difficult to maintain or take care of, that there's a lot of thought put into that planning process so that it lessens the burden on the homeowner down the road.
Yeah, for sure. We're all learning in this, even us coming into this, until we really start getting into the science. And I know we got some of the science folks out there. I see Adam White gave us a thumbs up. So you really start to understand the value of building science. You really start to understand the value of, what it is to build a energy efficient, clean, healthy environment for the consumer, and as a builder, to take pride in what you're doing and really doing the right things, not only just for the occupants, but for the environment and everything else in between.
Yeah, so today isn't really a how-to in terms of how to do this exactly. No. What today is about is sharing the different approach that these builders take. Number one, so if you're considering offsite construction, you have enough information to ask the right questions of the manufacturer that you're looking to do business with.
Right.
And if you're a homeowner, it's just enough information to help you understand why this is so important, and also to ask these questions and wonder, okay, how is my home being constructed? Because a lot of times, it happens to us often, clients care about the hardwood floors, the countertops, all of the bells and whistles, when before we get to that, before we help them understand how much it is for those, floors they desire, or that tile bathroom, or what, soaking tub, whatever it might be, help them understand the value of the construction of their home.
Yeah, very, very much so. And it is so true, right? Everybody, I guess it depends on where you live. Mm-hmm. There's the whole keeping up with the Joneses thing in our neck of the woods, so they will forego building construction value, in my opinion, for the hardwood floors or for the full inlay cabinets. But the reality of it is the savings that they can have if they do it right the first time with the right builder, then they'll be able to afford to put all those nice things into their home because they're not spending it on utility bills.
Exactly.
All right. All right. So we're going to jump into this, Miss Jennifer?
Yeah, let's do it.
Pull up my display here.
And thanks to everyone for joining us today. Again, this is Building Modular, and we're talking about how building modular and building science are perfect together.
Yes. Like a marriage.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, let's go before that one goes down the wrong rabbit hole. All right. Good morning, George. Good morning, everybody else joining us out there. So I'm sure Adam White has some things to talk about this from Passive Purple. But, what we're talking about again is building science when building modular, migrating the impact of thermal bridging in the design. Did I say that right? Mitigating the impact of thermal bridging in the design and envelope can greatly impact energy and cost savings of the building. Right there on the screen. I see big nose and big yes. What do we got going on, Jen?
So here's what this is all about. Again, we're not getting into the nuts and bolts of it, but essentially what we're saying is say no to airflow, say no to heat loss, say no to condensation, and definitely say no to the downstream effects of water in any form, which is mold. I mean, that's one thing as a mother. I mean, when I first started getting into this, was right around the time we started having children, and building a home when you first have children is so much different when you're building a home, not thinking about infants or toddlers crawling on the floor or possibly pushing open a window. You just think about things differently. So that's what we're saying no to today.
And I can guarantee our kids have some of the cleanest hands in this country. Because somebody makes them wash them all the time.
I'm not sure I agree with that. But here's what we are saying yes to. In addition to hand washing, which everybody should just do, is continuous insulation, air tightness, lower operating costs, and comfort. These are just a few bullet points, but they're easy talking points to help the conversation along.
They are. I mean, if you're talking to a consumer, they can all understand what these are. Oh, what is continuous insulation? Well, Mr. and Mrs. or whomever, the client may be. Air tightness, lower operating costs, all of these things translate into an easy conversation that any residential or commercial or investor can easily understand just based on using those keywords and to have that conversation to open up. All right, Jennifer. So with that said, why don't we talk about some of the people that are doing this now? Maybe. There it is. Yeah. All right. So we had Leah on from Deltec Homes.
Yeah. And Leah was great. She's young. She's energetic. She definitely has a funny approach to building science, and funny in the sense that she has created one of the funniest videos I've ever seen.
Yeah, that video was funny. We're gonna show some videos today. You need something to drink? Want some of my water?
No. No, but Deltec Homes has been around a really long time, I think close to 50 years. Yeah. And their unique home comes in a unique shape, which is round. They're based in Asheville, North Carolina, and that round shape actually helps with their weather. You know, they're in a hurricane zone and high wind zone.
In a lot of where they build, sure.
Yeah, and what they've discovered is that round shape really offsets the impact of high winds. And so we're going to learn from Leah what their approach is. I mean, they have more of a hybrid approach to offsite construction, and they've built some amazing looking homes. They don't only do the round homes. They do have some more traditional styles as well. But they take an open stud framing approach to their walls. And once that's up, it does look like more like on-site
So go ahead.
traditional builds. But yeah, let's pull up the video and take a look at how they do it and how they achieve airtightness.
Yeah, so this is what Leah had to say.
And we have a range of options for our wall assemblies for different climates. But the big thing about our way of doing it is we are what's called open stud framing. So we are panelized. We call it panelized and not manufactured, because we are, we're pre-building the wall, and it's usually the base wall is a 2x6, but we have upgrades up to a double stud wall. But we're building that in sections in the shop. They're 8-foot sections because that's very material efficient, and that works with our round shape. So we got 2x6, we got 5/8 CDX plywood, and we do plywood because of the durability and the water resistance and the wind resistance and the shear strength that we need in really high hurricane zones. We don't use OSB. We will often add a layer of foam, insulated foam, house wrap, and we use a drainable house wrap. We pre-install and pre-flash windows if people want to have windows from us in their package. And then on the rounds, we can actually even pre-install siding. Just because that 8-foot by 8-foot kind of section allows us to do that without the joints getting kind of weird. But the open stud means that we're not pre-insulating between the cavity in the factory.
Okay.
And we're building for the roof and the floor, we're building trusses as well. They're specially designed radial trusses with the self-supporting feature, but they're trusses, they're scissor trusses. So that means that the shell goes up very quickly, which is one of the benefits I'm sure you guys like to talk about offsite construction.
Yep. Yeah, we're muted. So she hit the nail right in the head when she said that, right, as far as offsite construction and how all this comes together. So going back, Jennifer, to our presentation, because there's more from Deltec Home. We're going to get into this a little bit. But for those of you that watched this episode, please comment. If you have anything you want to say or want to ask, bring it up. Like Jennifer said, this is more of a just here's who's out there. Here's who's people that's been on the show. We are not looking to break down the building science of this, but feel free in the comments to go through that and have at it yourselves for sure.
Yeah. So again, Leah was talking about that open stud framing and the truss system that they use to achieve that, round shape. And what's interesting too is that they don't insulate. They leave it up to the client to choose what type of insulation they are looking to use in that home. They also have a larger cavity for insulation. And again, the goal is when you're in that hurricane area, when you're in that high wind zone, there is that risk of losing power. So what happens if you lose power for a few days? You want to mitigate that heat loss. You want to keep that conditioned air inside your home. So when you think about the shape of their homes, the larger cavities, the client specified insulation that they use, what they're doing is preparing for that home to be more resilient, more durable than a traditional on-site built home that's using typical construction.
Especially where they build, they're down in the Carolinas. So I think they want to retain the cold air just as much as the hot air when they're dealing with this. But I mean, it really is about keeping that consistent temperature within these homes, making it very comfortable and making sure your mechanicals, your MEPs do not have to work very hard to do what they need to do because you actually put the science behind the build.
Absolutely. And on top of it, they're building such unique and beautiful homes. I mean, this photo is just one example of how they have that open
Oh, I love their ceilings.
yeah.
They're all wood and I don't know, was it octagon? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's that round interior
Yeah.
shape. Some of them are fully finished, you know, just paneled, just gorgeous.
Yep.
So this is some insight from Deltec, from Leah Dickens, who we had on the show this summer.
Yeah, and you know, all these episodes, if you're just tuning in for the first time, you can find them on our YouTube channel. So please subscribe. We are live on 3 locations: YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, Jennifer. So how cool is that? And I know everybody hates it when I do it, but we are on TikTok and we are growing. We're going to keep going. Listen, we're trying to reach as many people as we can. So smash that like button, please, right now. And if you're not following Jennifer or myself, and those of you that are tuned in, please, everybody connect with each other. That's what this is all about. So a couple quick shout outs. Yes, Miles Biggs. Let me look. Remember Miles showed me his water bottle. It doesn't, oh, look, it doesn't, there it is. Yes, welcome to the Water Bottle Club. Yeah, I sit here and this is what I drink all day long, starting today, Miles, actually. I've been using a regular cup up until this point. So thank you. And we got, hey, Sean Forrester. Hello from South Africa. What's up, Sean? I hope all is well. South Africa sounds like it's a hot climate zone, huh?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's funny. Some of these builders definitely are regional specific.
Yeah.
But across the globe, those regions exist.
They do
right?
exist. They do exist. We have people from all over the world joining us, so it's really cool. Thank you, Sean, for joining us and being a connection in the sport. Love it. And of course, we got George Ryman from Shorefoot out in Phoenix, Arizona. What is happening, George? I hope all is well with you guys and life is good in Phoenix. And with that said, we have a couple other ones here, Jen. Look at this. We have Andrew Seeley's out there. We have Miles Biggs, as I just mentioned. Joe Hutchins, Andrew Carpenter is saying hello today. What's up, Andrew? So thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Let's get, and Jennifer, you liked it too. That's amazing. How'd you do that? You're on the show.
I know, right? Oh.
Yeah, perfect. All right, let's keep rocking and rolling. All right, moving on to our next topic of conversation was Bensonwood. We had Jay on, which was at Jay Leppel, which was at Lepley. I keep getting it wrong. He's going to kill me. Which was a great show. I mean, we had a huge attendance for this, all talking about building science and everything that they're doing. You know, so for them, everything they talked about, it's all in their wall cavity. And it's about having as much insulation in their wall cavity and having as little as possible within the wall cavity.
Yeah, so with Jay, we were really talking about achieving passive house standards and some of the good work that they do to really achieve that tight building envelope, that air tightness, and the level of detail that they include in their shop drawings so that everybody is abundantly clear on how this all comes together to create that air tightness, right? To create that seal, if you will. You know, we did talk a little bit about products, but really it was more about the process and how things come together. And there was definitely no shortage of great instructions from Jay in terms of how he is how Bensonwood is achieving what they're doing, Unity Homes, how they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, we got a short video on that too.
Yeah, and even just the culture and the mindset at Bensonwood. This is it. That in and of itself is a shining example of what we like to showcase on these shows. Yeah. Everybody's a believer. It's not about, oh, this is how it needs to be done. It's more about how this is how it should be done. Build beyond code, build to that higher level. Right. Don't just build to standard. It's good for you as a business. It's good for your clients. It's good for the world. Basically.
Well, it is good for the world. It's good for our children. And you hit a big point. It's culture. Why are the companies in offsite construction with great cultures just nailing it, right? They're knocking it out of the park. The culture change is coming. It's starting to happen slowly. Let's show this clip from Jay Lepley from Bensonwood, and we'll play this right now.
Different things can be done. And I'm not a consultant. I'm a passive house builder. But I know enough about putting these things up and what we need to achieve. And there's a lot of things I want to comment on here, but I want to just talk about maybe our layers real quick, because no matter how thick our insulation is or how thick our studs or eye joists are, we use our same set of criteria for air sealing our buildings. Yeah. And so let me just come in. I'm showing you a 3D section here. Well, it's not a section if it's 3D, but I'm showing you our interior wall cavity, and this interior is a 2x4 in this one to be able to add insulation. But what I want to note here is it's fastened to our OSB layer with this one is, I think, a 2x12 behind it. And then we have a wood fiber board on the exterior. So I just made a bunch of layers disappear. But what I want to say here is we use the OSB as our vapor control layer and our air sealed layer. The reason why we do this, I know there's a lot of membranes out there. A lot of people would love to disagree with me, and I'm sure they do. But nobody can slash this with an X-Acto knife. So they got to get out a saw and really do some damage on this thing to get through this air barrier, which is why we put it on. Another reason, when we get into things like shallow frost protected slabs and all the insulation people are putting on the outside of their foundation, we are keeping all of our hold downs to the inside. So we've got Titans through this layer. We've got these custom hold downs that we use in this layer, and it all gets covered up by drywall, and it's all inside the air barrier. It's not inside. It's not condensating somewhere in the middle of the wall. It's all inside, and I can't stress that enough. So we have an engineered solution to be able to get these things out of the middle of the wall and keep just insulation in there. And lastly, I just want to say this OSB is our shear layer as well. So we're not, even though we've got sheathing on the outside, we are not using that as our shear layer. We're keeping it to the inside. Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
I just want to take.
So, I mean, with that, Jen's whispering, we're on mute. So, Jen, I mean, but, all right, so I think what's really important to note here, why we're showing these panelized systems, and the next one we're going to get into is modular, is that these wall assemblies can be achieved at any manufacturer. So as a builder, as a homeowner, if you're tuning into this and you want to build a better structure, right, these are all different techniques that different manufacturers and builders are using, and you can take those and use them for your own good on what works best for you. Now, again, climate zone makes a big difference on how you do certain things and where you do it. So it's going to take a little bit more knowledge than just what we're putting out here, but it's a good start.
Yeah, and again, it's about asking the manufacturer that you're looking to work with how they construct these systems, right? How they build out their walls, what materials they're using, and what components are going together. And again, this goes back to the design process. What are you calling for? What elements are you including on the plans? Because if they're not on there, how do you know really what will be used, right?
Well, I mean, but that's it. So if you look at like Jay Lepley and Benson Wood, I mean, they're using obviously a 3D rendering system. I don't believe that was, maybe it was BIM, but I think they have their own thing thrown up. But they're really able to look at things in a very detailed way to make the process smoother and more energy efficient, tighter, where everybody can see it. And I think that's a big deal. And I think a lot of manufacturers, you know, in their offsite space currently are still using AutoCAD version 6 or something like that, right? They're outdated, and they're not looking at the levels of efficiency and how you can design with less lumber, right? And still have a stronger, tighter envelope.
Right. So, I mean, this is the interesting part. You're using less lumber, fewer resources, bigger cavities, more insulation, and you're building to a level that is more durable, more resilient with fewer resources. So again, this is an example of what you put into it is what you get out. Ask your manufacturer how they're assembling their walls and understand that so you know how to sell that value to your client.
That's right. That's right. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you know, again, this gets back to if you put a little bit more into the air sealing and the framing and the science up front, customer is going to save so much more in the back end. They're going to be so happy with you when they actually move in and live in the home, and that's a big deal." Yeah,
and we'll get into this next point in the next video. But something that I remember coming up from clients all the time was the misperception of 16 on center versus 24 on center. I can't tell you how many clients requested 16 on center because they thought more wood, more lumber meant a better home.
For sure they do. For sure they do. However, if it's, in their favor, they don't understand the engineering today. They also don't understand the manufacturing process and the shear walls and how the nail patterns go on, all the different things that make the home stronger. And you can use less lumber to achieve that. And I think this is a little bit of where the education comes in. This is part of what we talked about yesterday, getting the consumer educated. And that's why we're here.
Right.
We're educating the consumer, and maybe we could use an education still.
I know. And again, even, like Brent Musson called out yesterday too, it's about educating the investors, because when the investors understand the value of it, they create that client demand, who then has the client request specifically offsite construction, modular construction. And again, we're showing you examples from Bensonwood, Unity, and Deltec and FinishWorks.
Yep.
They all use a hybrid approach. FinishWorks is definitely more of your traditional modular construction. Deltec definitely takes that hybrid approach, and obviously Bensonwood has a panelized business as well. But it doesn't matter. All of this is transferable to modular construction.
Yeah, and when you're out there watching this, depending on, when you see these 3 different processes, I'd love to know which one you like the most. Do you like Deltec's approach? Do you like Bensonwood approach? Do you like Harris, from FinishWorks approach? And we're going to get into that now.
Yeah, let's take a look.
So, all right. So Harris from FinishWorks is a tried and true modular builder. Green is in his thumbs and his brains and his house. He's been doing this a long time, and he's really had a focus on energy efficient, net zero capable builds for a long time, and probably one of the first ones in the modular volumetric space, whatever you want to call it. Now, that one on the left-hand side there, that double wall assembly, he's not even using that anymore. But this is where he started really, and where he came from, so he could have that thermal break the way he was staggering his stud walls.
Right. So the reason why these sketches are on here is with FinishWorks, Harris is building in the Maryland area, high density, high traffic corridor right outside of the Washington, D.C. area. The reason we included these sketches is because there's a lot of great content on Harris's website, the FinishWorks website. So even if you're not building in Maryland, even if, they're not really someone that can help you, and he's a builder, he's not the manufacturer, just to be clear, there's a lot of great information on his website, again, so that you can ask the right questions of your manufacturer. Are you, Harris has been doing this for a really, really long time. He's not big into the third-party certifications. He's really just into
the science of it.
Exactly.
The science of it. And I think for Harris, really, it's, can I do better?
Absolutely.
That's his whole mindset. And he really thinks this stuff through. And I blew that up so you can see a little bit. But if you don't know Harris, so Harris is not the manufacturer. FinishWorks is not the manufacturer. He is a builder, but he has come up with his own process and his own specifications that he then works with the manufacturer of his choice to build the wall assemblies that he requires to get his homes to the net zero that he's looking to achieve.
So Dave, you touch on another really great point. Ask your manufacturer what they do, like what is their standard offerings, but don't think for a minute that has to be what you do. If you're a builder out there, it doesn't mean that that's what you need to do. Harris created his own system that he has even since, evolved and improved upon. And he's very directional with the factories that he works with. He doesn't say, okay, I'll take what you have off the shelf.
Nope.
He says, this is what I want to be my version of off the shelf for my clients, building with FinishWorks. And we encourage builders out there not to be over the top or try to fit a round peg into a square hole with your manufacturer. But certainly talk to them about the assemblies that make the most sense for you and your clients.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, again, this goes back to, some of the first episodes. You don't have to have the manufacturer tell you what the spec is. You can work with the manufacturer and come up with your own specifications to meet your client's needs. So I think that's super, super important to understand. So let's get into it with Harris. Let's talk.
Yeah.
He's let me see. Let me get the right one here. He's a character. Love this guy. All right, here we go.
Thank you, Mark. All right, I have a little show and tell here, and I don't have a fancy camera that I can hear for you. I was asked to build this a while ago and take it on the road when I would speak, and it's pretty straightforward. It's a wall assembly. Now, Mark, I'd be lying if I told you this was a 2x6. It is a 2x8 because for a while there we were building 2x8, but it doesn't get any easier than this, folks. This is a section of wall with 2x studs 24 inches apart. Okay, there's the drywall on the inside. There's the junction box, receptacle box, and there's spray foam around the box. Admittedly, it's a little bit liberal there. And then we have sheathing, and then 1 inch of foam board. Excuse the showing off of the name brand there, but it is what it is. This, we keep it as simple as possible in the modular world by just doing basic things, and that is spreading the studs out from 16 to 24, so there's less thermal bridging. Every other builder is going to have a stud right here. That's 50% more studs throughout the whole wall assembly, transferring heat right through. And you don't want that to happen. So 24 on center, you actually save money on lumber, and you have less thermal bridging. Then, to prevent more thermal bridging, you have that 1 inch of foam board. And we run 1 inch of foam board on top of the sheathing, all the way across the envelope, all the way around the whole outside of the home, including the gable end. So their attic is slightly insulated as well. And that's it. It's not rocket science. There's
So-
their side.
So,
All right, so that's it. It's not rocket science. And that was probably the simplest approach of anybody that we've seen, where he's just taking an already very precise construction process within a manufacturing facility, using some closed cell foam around all the joints of the inside of that wall, and then we call it flash and bat, right? And then putting the insulation in. What do you call it? Class A?
Class 1 hang.
Yep.
So here's the part that is so cool about what Harris is doing and Finish Works is doing. There is nothing fancy. It is incredibly basic. But when you do that in a controlled environment and you're weather tight, when you're on site and the modules are installed and you're weather tight very quickly, you can achieve that precision-based construction. You can achieve, you can go after mitigating those thermal
Right.
bridges. If there's two things that Harris said in that last segment that we'd really like for homeowners and builders trying to convey the value of offsite construction to their homeowners, two things: the thermal bridge and the continuous insulation.
Well, and he also, I'll put it back up here. He says, and his quote is, "Building can be off the shelf, right? High performance can be off the shelf." Harris says it.
Absolutely.
Says it all the time right there across the screen.
Yeah. So, again, it's about how do you create that wall assembly? How do you stop that heat transfer? Because what happens when that heat transfer happens? Cold air meets hot air, and then that resulting condensation is exactly what we need to keep out of the house, right? Water in any form is what we're trying to keep out.
Yeah. Water's not good for a house, Jen. Of course we want to keep it out. We do want to keep water is bad, water is bad, water is bad. But water does get into the home, whether it's through evaporation of our skin, cooking, and all these things. So when you're looking at this, and I know there's some of you out there, let's pay attention to how the barriers work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the vapor can come and go and in the right direction, so you can get all of that moisture out of your walls.
Right.
And all the right things. So with all of this, we're going to say hi to some people, but my favorite slide is this one. Precision plus performance equals profitability. So for you builders out there that are thinking about building modular or building panelized, right? Get with the manufacturing process, right? It's the best way forward, because when you have precision and you get performance, it's going to equal profitability, especially when you get the right manufacturing team on your side. It can speed up your process, and it can put dineros in your pocket.
And here's the thing. I mean, it starts by asking the right questions. Number one, understand how your factory does it.
Yeah.
Number two, it starts with, it also translates to a detailed set of plans. You know, a lot of builders out there do on-site work as well as off-site work,
That's
right?
right.
There
Yep.
are some components, like even in, with Deltec Homes, for example, they provide those round homes. And then a lot of times there's site
Yeah.
work that happens to connect the two. You know, even in all, with all of the builders that we've worked in the past, there's components of that construction that happens on site. Make sure your trade partners in the field, make sure your trade partners in the factory really understand the materials and the construction that you want to use to mitigate those thermal bridges, to create the optimal wall panel assemblies for you, your climate, and your clients.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So a lot of fun here, Jennifer, but we got some people to say hi to.
Let's do it.
Sorry, I was looking at some things. All right. Who else? Oh, Buzz is with us today. Hey, Buzz, man, hope you're doing all right in Conklin, Michigan. You're getting a lot of snow up there, right? I think are they getting ready to get a big storm? I think you guys are getting the snow. Hey, look at that. Doug Pill, Prefab Logic. Guess who's coming on our show soon?
I know.
28th, right? Wednesday the 28th. I think we have Doug on the show, and we're gonna start putting that out. And Doug, I think we have a test stream coming up. Dude, it's going to be so cool having you on the show and bringing what you guys are doing in Prefab Logic to the rest of the world, because I don't think they realize how much cool stuff you guys have going on.
Yeah, and this is a great example also of how everyone's doing it a little bit differently, and we'll get to see how Prefab Logic is doing it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, all right, everybody, with that said, I mean, we're already, Jen, 40 minutes into it today. I love it. I love that sometimes these shows go as planned.
Well, yeah, we're trying to keep, you know, these shows on specific topics a little bit shorter because, again, they're designed to share with your builders, your manufacturers, and your clients.
That's right.
So we already talked about upcoming events like Doug Pill joining us. What other upcoming events do we have?
Yeah, so we have, let's put these on the screen as well, and I'll share that. Exciting stuff, Jen. I don't know why I took it off.
I know, seriously, but that's okay. You know, and one thing that we can talk about, so here, tomorrow's the 21st, right?
Tomorrow is the 21st, and we've been preparing because we have the Housing Innovation Alliance keynote with Taurus Investment Holdings and Eco Smart Solution. You know, really looking forward to having those guys on the show. And then on 10/26, we have Mark Farmer, who wrote Modernize or Die for the UK, England, whatever we're going to call it. And he's going to be on the show. This is going to be a big, big thing. And I think Mark's also talking at IWBC. I think he's a keynote speaker, right?
Yes. Yeah. So it was awesome to have Art join us on the show yesterday, talk a little bit about IWC, which is a virtual event coming up. So that's super cool. But Mark Farmer talking about Modernize or Die is a great follow-up to the conversation we had with Andrew Carpenter last week about how different folks within the industry are coming together to really make a difference and really talking about offsite construction, modern methods of construction, industrialized construction, and taking it to the next level. So that's super cool. Tomorrow's keynote on Whisper Valley, while these are traditional site builders that we'll be talking about in this master planned community, what's so interesting about this is that these are net zero capable homes that were built in this master planned community, affordable, right? Starting between, I think, the
250,000 to roughly $400,000 or $500,000
US dollars. So
net zero capable.
Yeah, which is amazing. How did they do it? We'll find out tomorrow from Douglas and is it John? Who we have?
Yep, John Tao.
Yep, perfect.
Yep, I just put it. I'm putting it in the chat here, and I'll also add it to the LinkedIn chat so everybody has it. But definitely, I mean, we have over 100 people attending this event already. So it's going to be really, really good. So hopefully everybody can join us. Why can't I get that in? What's going on? There it is. All right. So let me put that there as well. So be sure to join us tomorrow. What else we got? Is that it?
No, here's the real thing. Each week we bring to you this building modular episode hands-on experience, sharing with you, things that we've learned along the way.
Right.
There is a much better resource out there doing this to a much better, higher degree. And that's Stone Pile Construction College.
Ooh.
They are offering associate's degrees, bachelor degrees, and masters in prefabrication.
Yeah.
Where you
ticker.
can really go and learn how to do this with the best of them.
Yeah, Stone Pile Construction College. You guys are gonna be so tired of hearing me say this, but you can go get an offsite construction education with a high school diploma. You don't need SATs. You don't need the traditional things you need to get into college. Yes, it is a true associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, and a master's degree in offsite construction. You just need to have a high school diploma, or if you're in prison, listen, everybody has hard lucks, hard times. There's a program for you as well. So I think this is a really exciting thing for us. We're really looking forward to it. And definitely, please, if you're going to share the link with the Stone Pile link, it's in the ticker. Jen also put it in the comment section. Please use that link so we can track and make sure we're reaching the audience that we want to reach. And also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are not subscribed already. That's it, Jen.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us today, where a little bit of building modular comes together with a little bit of building science. Again, it's encouraging you all to ask the right questions as you consider modular construction to be your method of construction.
Can't say it better than that. We'll see everybody. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Till tomorrow. Bye now.
Bye.